Hey, what is up everybody? It is Brendan Kutschbach, and today I have a very interesting topic to talk about. And that topic is about the American dream and whether or not if it still exists. But first things first, let's go ahead and get all the fun stuff out of the way. Like, subscribe, share this video. Our YouTube family keeps on growing, all because of you guys, and I seriously, really do make these videos for you guys, my subscribers. So if you wouldn't mind, go ahead and hit that subscribe button, hit the like button. That greatly would help out the channel, and just, again guys, thank you so much for your continued support. But anyways guys, let's go ahead and get into this video. So is the American dream dead? From my perspective, the answer is no, but that's only the short answer. The long answer is the American dream is no longer what it used to be. It has changed, and let me explain why. So in order to understand how the American dream has changed, we need to first understand exactly what the original American dream was. And that is, the original American dream was essentially the concept that any American, whether if you were a natural-born citizen or an immigrant to this country, you could have a good financial life and be a member of the middle class, be able to put food on the table, a roof over your head, support yourself, support your family, and all that you had to do was get a job and put in hard work. Not only all of this was the reality of the American dream, but this also included a decent retirement, because back in the day, you could literally get a job anywhere in this country, in every single company, everywhere that you worked. The government didn't matter. They would retire you with a pension, a guaranteed income after a certain amount. As I was saying, you could retire and you could have a pension. Every single company, no matter what you worked for, whether if it was a government or a company, you would get a pension. And then in 1935, the Social Security program was enacted and everyone would receive retirement income from the government at a certain age. So essentially what the original American dream was, is it was membership to the middle class. And the middle class was something that people wanted to strive for. And on top of that, the middle class was something that was readily easy to obtain. All that you had to do was get a job. Nowadays, in order to be middle class, you can't just get any job. You have to first go to college, spend an exuberant amount of money, get in a lot of debt, so that way you can get a piece of paper that qualifies you for a job to become a member of the middle class. So the middle class is no longer easily obtained, but at the same time, in my opinion, I don't think the middle class is something that should be striven for like it was back in the day. I think now that the new American dream is to pursue wealth. And now in present day, in 2020, if we look at the middle class, what the original American dream was, what you were supposed to strive for, and compare the middle class to the other classes, the poor class and the rich class, it's quite easy to see that the middle class gets screwed the absolute most, and I'm going to show you exactly how. But before we get into those reasons, there's something that I really want to point out to the audience here, and that is that there is no limit on the amount of money that you can generate. There is no limit to your wealth. The only thing that prevents you from making an exuberant amount of money is the limits that you set on yourself. Your occupation does not determine how much money that you can make. The skill set that you already know does not determine how much money you can make. You can always learn more skill sets. And now in 2020, we have an endless supply of information through the internet. We have multiple ways to connect with people, whether in person, the phone, or through social media. You can market people through social media and have hyper-targeted ads. You can build websites. I mean, there's just an endless supply of opportunity, and there's an endless supply of money. So don't let your skill set, your job, or degree limit the amount of money that you can make. Just figure out ways that you can find a skill set and market that, start a business, learn about investing, and you can make more wealth. So again, the amount of money that you generate, the wealth that you generate, it is not limited by a piece of paper, a college degree, an occupation. It is only limited by the limits that you set on yourself. So if you want to make more money, it's entirely possible. You just have to get out there and make it happen. Okay, so now that I said that little piece, let's go ahead and talk about the reasons in which the middle class, the original American dream, the pursuit of the middle class, why that class of people gets screwed out of every other single class, and how the American dream has changed from the pursuit of the middle class to the pursuit of the wealthy class, the rich class. The first reason is the middle class has to pay a higher tax percentage than the rich class. I'm seriously not joking. The rich pay less via percentage in taxes than the middle class. Let me show you how. Let me direct your attention towards the whiteboard. Okay guys, so this is what I call the 4 quadrants of income. So over here on this side, you have the E and S, which stands for employee or self-employed / specialist. This is where the majority of people are, and this is where the poor people are. Then over here, the B and the I, that stands for big business and investor. And now I'm going to explain to you how the different quadrants are taxed. So let's start off with the middle class and see how they're taxed. So over here you have the E, which stands for employee. Now employees, they have different tax brackets. So we're going to go with the example that you have an employee who makes $100,000 per year. Well, in 2019, if you made $100,000, then your federal tax rate would be 24%. And then if you come down to the self-employed or the specialists, they're still employees. And these specialists, they can be lawyers or doctors. They're just, a high-paid, a high-earning employee. Well, the specialists and the self-employed, they pay tax brackets as well. So for example, let's say you're a lawyer and you made $100,000. Well, you'd still pay 24%. But now let's say you're self-employed, you're a freelancer or something along those lines, and you made $100,000. Well, now you're going to be paying 24% on the $100,000, but you're also going to pay 15.3% as a self-employment tax on the first $132,900 that you make, and then for every dollar that you make after $132,900, you're going to be paying 2.9%. Now let's go ahead and see how the rich people are taxed. So over on the business side, their tax rate is 21%. Big business, they pay a flat rate of 21% no matter how much money they make. And big businesses, they get the power of write-offs. So if they need to buy new computer equipment, do advertising, they can write off the amount of money that they owe in taxes, and they can effectively get that rate down to zero. But employees, people who are self-employed, and the specialists, they don't get that benefit. Now over here, you have the investors. Their rate is 15%, flat rate. Whatever you make in profit from your investments is considered a capital gains, and it's only 15% tax rate, and same thing, there's write-offs. You could write off your investment losses, you can write off depreciation, and you could same thing, get your tax rate effectively down to zero. So you can see how that the government, they have this system with the tax code where they try to reward the businesses and the investors, because the businesses, they create jobs which help strengthen the economy, and the investors, they put forth money to fuel the businesses, which helps create jobs. Over here, yes, these people are part of like the hamster wheel and they are a vital part of the economy, but they are not the job creators, so therefore they get worse tax treatment. And one thing that I want to point out about the 4 quadrants of income and how they're taxed, I did not come up with this. That's actually Robert Kiyosaki, this man. He's the author of Rich Dad, Poor Dad. Great book. It teaches you the differences between assets and liabilities, and then really the difference between the rich and the poor. So he came up with this. I'm essentially just regurgitating it to you guys on the channel, but he gets all the credit for creating this. And the second reason is the rich, they get to control their own income. Here's the thing. When you are middle class, what you make is determined by your employer. If your employer says that they're gonna pay you 20 bucks an hour, you are going to get paid 20 bucks an hour. And no matter how hard you work or how little you work, the amount of money that you make per hour is the same. Now, rich people, they get paid for their results. They get paid based off of their investment income, or they get paid off of what their companies are making, off of the sales that they are doing. So if a rich person, if they want to make more money, they can invest more. Sure, that comes with some risk, but that also comes with a lot of gain. If they run a company, which most rich people do, they can go ahead and they can pursue more aggressive sales tactics. They can go and do more client outreach. They can spend more on ads. There's so much more that they can do because they can control the business. So if they want to make more money, all that they got to do is go out there and make more sales to happen. But as a middle class person, as someone who's an employee, someone who works for the company and does not run the company, you are limited to the income that your employer is willing to pay you. So if they're going to pay you 20 bucks an hour, you're only going to get 20 bucks an hour no matter how hard you work, no matter how much money you make your boss, you're only going to get 20 bucks an hour. And sure, we can go ahead and argue that the middle class gets raises by their employers, but here's the thing. According to this article by the Pew Research Center, Americans really, they don't get much raises at all. As a matter of fact, their raises has not beaten the inflation rate since 2013. So yes, we can totally argue that middle class employees, that they do make money over time through raises, but the amount of money that they're getting in their raises is not enough to combat the decreased purchasing power that their money has, and this decreased purchasing power comes from inflation. So in order for employment to really have any sort of meaningful gain, you have to make sure that the raises that you're getting are beating inflation year after year after year, but that's not happening according to the Pew Research Center. And the third reason is the rich have complete control of their time. So middle class people, they work for the company, so their hours are set by their employers. Going back to the rich class, they typically run their own company, so they set their hours. If they want to work from their laptop at home in their underwear, they can. You can't as an employee who has to be at a physical location to punch a clock and work by the hour. Rich people also have investment income. They invest large sums of capital into the markets, into real estate, into different investments that will passively produce income for them. There's a trend that I see with rich people. Rich people value their time and they do everything that they can do to save their time, when middle class people, they sell their time. They sell their time to an employer in exchange for an hourly wage. Rich people will also automate their work or outsource their work, freeing up their time. So if they want to go on a vacation, or if they're maybe in Rome and they want to go tour the Colosseum and they need to outsource something to an employee, they can. That's why they have employees, so that way they can sit back, relax, or they can go start other ventures. But here's the thing, as an employee, your time, like I said, is limited by the employer, but even your vacation time. For those of you who are not from the United States, my foreign audience, what's typical vacation time here in the US is 2 weeks. 2 weeks is what typical employers will allow you to have paid, so that way you can go do whatever you want. But that's the thing. Middle class, they do not have control over their time. Your employer has control over your time. You got your weekends and holidays, and that's it. And the fourth reason is that the rich class does not require a degree at all to become a member of the rich class. To invest or start your own company, that requires no degree. You don't even need a high school diploma, and you could start your own company or invest. But as an employee, as a member of the middle class, in order to get a job that pays you high enough, in order to escape minimum wage, you typically need a degree, a 4-year degree, and college in the United States is incredibly expensive. According to Forbes magazine, in 2018, the average student loan debt per person was $32,000. Can you imagine that? Being 18 years old, coming out of high school with hardly anything, and then you gotta go get an average of $32,000 in debt to go get a piece of paper so you can only become a member of the middle class. And believe me, my goal is not to harp on college. College is incredibly important. Like, if you truly want to go be, let's say, a doctor, well then of course you have to go to school to become a doctor. But what I'm saying here is that the paper that you receive from college is not important. What is important is education, and whether if you choose to get that education from a university or from books or the internet is totally up to you. But books and the internet is way cheaper, and I've learned so much more about finances through my own personal learning than I ever had in the school system. And also from my personal experience, the richest people that I know, the people who literally have the most money, are also, I wouldn't say the least educated, because they are highly educated, but they have the least education in a university setting. It just goes to show a college education is not necessary, but financial education is everything. And the crazy part is all these reasons that I've given you, these are just a few of the reasons, and I'm not even done. There's more. And the fifth reason is health insurance. Health insurance is so incredibly expensive, and for the members of the middle class, they are subject to choose whatever health insurance plan that their employer is offering them. But the wealthy class, they don't have that option. They can choose whatever health plan works best for them and their family. And here's the thing about health insurance. Whatever health insurance policy, plan, and company that you go with, they can dictate who you see, how much they cover, what hospitals you can go to, different treatments that you have to get, things that you have to do before you can get this kind of treatment. Your care is completely controlled, believe it or not, by the health insurance companies and not by the doctors. So when you are a employee, someone who's a member of the middle class, your only option is to really go through your employer's health plan. But as a member of the rich class, you can go on to healthcare.gov, figure out what plan is best for you and your family and buy that plan and go see whoever you need to go see. Now, there's nothing stopping the middle class from doing the same thing that the rich do and just going and buying a good health plan for themselves. But the thing is healthcare is very, very expensive, which is why it's a federal mandate that if you work full-time for a company that they have to offer you health insurance, because it's ridiculously expensive. I've even looked into it for my family. When business income can get to the point where Nicole can stop working and I can stop working and everything is set, I wanted to see how much we'd be spending a month in health insurance. And that would literally be almost $1,000 a month just to have us insured. Even the poor people have an advantage over the middle class people, because the poor people, they qualify for Medicaid, which is completely free healthcare at the expense of the government. And the sixth reason, I got little Miss Brooklyn back in frame with us, the sixth reason is retirement. The rich get to control when they retire. Now, why is this? Why do they get to control when they retire compared to the middle class? It goes back to the second reason, and that's that the rich control their own income. They have no limits set on them by an employer to how much that they can make. They can literally make as much money as they see fit. They can go out, they can hustle, they can do what they want to make as much money as possible, grow their sales with their company, take all that extra money that they make, that higher income, go ahead and invest that, and eventually they're going to start receiving passive income from their investments that they can retire off of. Now, what do the middle class do? The middle class typically retire in their mid to late 60s, sometimes early 60s, because you have an option of when to take Social Security, but that's the ticket. It's Social Security. For the middle class, they think that Social Security is vital and necessary for their retirement. When the rich, they don't really plan for Social Security. They want to retire early. They want to make more money. And they actually see risk in letting the government handle their retirement for them. So they want to make sure that they're making money on their own terms and through their own methods and ways, and not relying on the government to basically give them handouts every single month so that way they can survive. The rich, they take their retirement into their own hands, when the middle class, they leave their retirement to the government's hands. Now, if you choose to be an employee for the rest of your life, that's totally fine. There's nothing wrong with being an employee. That's a noble decision. But one thing that I have to give advice to everybody: learn about a Roth IRA, learn about a Roth 401k, learn about your employer-sponsored 401k, learn about annuities and rental properties, learn about investing. Figure out a way that you can support yourself without Social Security. Allow Social Security to be that cherry on top, that surprise that you get. I mean, you want to make sure that you're in a good situation, so that way if the government screws you and Social Security goes away, or you get less, or the retirement age is way later than you thought, you just want to have some backup way to where you can retire and just let that Social Security just be a little bit of extra surprise. You know, don't count on it, hope for it, but don't count on it. And the last thing that I want to talk about, because we talked about the differences between the middle class and the rich class, now I want to talk about the differences between the middle class and the poor class, because I promised you in the beginning, the middle class gets screwed out of every other class, and that includes the poor class. Yes, the people who make less money than the middle class, they actually do better than the middle class. And the reason why the poor class does better than the middle class the majority of the time is the poor class, they qualify for a lot of government assistance, when the middle class, they don't, because they make too much. And this government assistance, here's all the ones off the top of my head: Medicaid, which is completely free healthcare, food stamps, EBT, SNAP program, all the same, helps you buy groceries, Section 8 housing, gets you an affordable place to live, completely free or subsidized utilities, completely free or subsidized phone plans, completely free or subsidized public transportation, completely free or subsidized childcare, welfare, the Pell Grant to help you afford an education. Those are just all the ones off the top of my head. Now, with everything that I just said about all that government assistance, please don't let that motivate you to be poor because the government's going to take care of you. Grant Cardone, he says it's best. It's your duty, your obligation, and your responsibility to be successful. Live the best version of yourself, and someone who's waiting for government assistance to just buy the necessities and get by, that's not a life to live. You want to pursue wealth. So please don't be a member of the poor class. Don't do what society tells you and tries to get you part of the little hamster wheel and be a member of the middle class, unless that's something that you really want to do. But really pursue wealth. Join the wealthy class and pursue the new American dream, and that is the pursuit of the wealthy class, not the middle class. So to sum everything in this video up, the American dream still completely exists. The only thing that has changed is the pursuit of what class that we go after. No longer do we pursue comfort in the middle class, but we pursue wealth and an extraordinary life in the rich class. The middle class is no longer desirable, and it's actually expensive to obtain. When the rich class, all it takes is education, no matter where you receive that education from, and hustle and direction. The middle class, they have very limited control over their time and their lives for that matter. When the rich class, they have unlimited control of their lives and their time. And for everyone who has made it this far in the video, thank you so much for watching. But before you go, before we sign off, there's just one more thing that I want to re-emphasize. Now in 2020, there is an endless amount of opportunity for you to pursue wealth. You can learn skill sets on YouTube or through courses. You can sell things on websites like eBay and Amazon. You like little knickknacks around your house. The world is hyper connected, and you can connect with people on different mediums, social media platforms, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, Zoom. There's so much to be learned, and there's so much to do now through the power of the internet. You can learn about investing. You have access to anything that you want to know. And there is an endless supply of money. There's nothing stopping you from going out and generating as much money, as much wealth as you want, except for the limitations that you set on yourself. So if you want to make more money, you just have to get out there and make it happen. And that's it, guys. That's my message. So peace out. Until next week, guys. I'll catch you in the next one.